Hi there, folks. This is Jim, the Keys bartender, coming to you from Key Largo. We're coming up on 4th of July weekend. I'm here with Steve from Key Largo Comics. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I I always have this antivirus software pop up every time I start the music for the show.
Hmm,
It just goes doot 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 like that.
I heard that.
Oh,
Yeah,
you heard that? But you don't hear the
I heard
music.
that little. Right.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that it just pops up. I just every time I don't I guess that's just because I'm reaching out to the internet right now.
Uh-huh.
So it's 4th of July weekend, and well, obviously you're following everything, Steve, since we last spoke
Yeah.
about a week and a half ago.
Yep.
The we go. Florida's been setting records, not the good kind either. So
No,
no, and
not
it's
the good.
fourth, yeah, 4th of July, and we you could tell it. Um, Let me set the stage for the people that are out of the area, and then the people that are in Key Largo, in Key West, and Marathon, and they know what's going on, right? So
Yeah.
what happened is, if you follow the news, hopefully you follow the news. Florida's had a huge increase in infections with the coronavirus. I think it's like 26 or some crazy number in the last 72 hours. It's been
Yeah.
like 23,000
Yeah.
infections.
Insane.
Yeah, for the size of our state, it's huge. I mean, it's not California's big, but California's 2.5 times larger, I think. But we have that, and it's mainly in South Florida. And what happens is in South Florida and well, let's say Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, they've closed the beaches for 4th of July, discontinued fireworks, no parades. Um, they're even though the state of Florida isn't mandating mask. I mean, I understand people say the beaches aren't a place where it happens. It's just that there's a lot of people going to the beaches, and they're thinking of the numbers of
Right.
people. And
Mm-hmm.
so while all this was happening, and the huge we have our governor who DeSantis, who takes his cues from the guy in Washington, decides not
Right.
to institute a statewide mask mandate to make it easier on municipalities. So they don't. So the municipalities and counties have to do it, and
Right.
so they're shutting down while all this happening. They shut down bars last week. All bars. Was it last
Yeah.
Friday? So it's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday they shut down bars. Places that had liquor sales under a certain percentage, they are considered bars versus restaurants with bars. And
Mm-hmm.
the way we handle it is we try to, if we have our bar open and someone that would sit at a bar would be at a table, and I would go to the table and serve them, right?
Right. Yeah.
Uh, Whether they came in for a drink or not, but most of our sales are. It's not that people have to come in. I know it's sucky for a bar, you know, but what happens with bars is, you know, they'd be impossible to serve them at tables and shit like that. They just belly up the bars. People just ignore when they tell them the reason they close bars, as they did, because people were just going elbow to elbow, and they see the videos out there and stuff like that. You just see like 100 people in there, and they're violating whatever They're not. Yes, they're not violating. They're violating social
Yeah.
distancing rules. Right.
Right.
So we do that. So what happens is Broward, Dade, Palm Beach, they shut down all their beaches, all the 4th of July, and we don't. The Monroe County, directly south, we remain open up until 2 days ago, right? So everyone's
Right.
if you want to see fireworks, if you want to go to a beach or you want to be on the water and things like that, looks like it's the Keys, right? So
Yeah,
with
right.
our very limited resources, we got all these people coming down here. We have 75,000 year-round residents, and then we get another 150, maybe 200,000 people coming down, compounded with the day trippers. Well, then they
Hmm.
start a couple days ago. They decided getting wise, Monroe County, and they decided to close all county-run beaches. And now the Alvarado, directly south of us, and south of Key Largo, closes their beaches and parks. So all the parks and
Uh-huh.
beaches in Monroe County that are run by the county are the state beaches are still open, from what I understand. But
Oh, really?
and all the fireworks are canceled. All the public fireworks, the ones ran by the one that was run by the Chamber of Commerce in Key Largo. Um, I think there's someone suggests there's one in at Marker 88, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But if there is one, that's going to be an event that would be called, what would they call that? A mass infection event or something like that.
Yeah. Super spreader,
Super spreader event.
right?
That's what if you're familiar with why people say Fourth of July. That's outside, right? the But what happens? Oh my God! Almost half the time, you get thousands of people. What they do is where we do it in the Keys and many seaside or waterside communities, is they use barges on the water
Yeah.
to launch their fireworks. So everyone gathers up to the water's edge. So instead of being in like a field somewhere, you would
Right.
any place else. They're all gathered up. And they're all, I mean, elbow to elbow. There's no safe distancing here. So we have only most of the coastline in the Keys, except for private property, is some like hotels that allow people and some businesses that allow people on their property to watch the fireworks,
Hmm.
like the Caribbean Club, um, the
Right.
Marriott, and
Hmm.
places like that. And now we have a little park, the Rawls Marina. But you'd have thousands of people. And for many of these fireworks, when you go there, and this is a small community, remember, we're, what would we say, 10,000 people?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
year round. A traffic jam happens after July 4th. Some people, I've heard some people get it taking an hour and a half to get home, and they live a mile and a half away.
Right.
Yeah, they could have walked. Obviously, they could have walked, but some with kids, and they
Totally.
park all these different places, and you got everyone that's coming in, and everyone that's watching fireworks. All the roads are blocked. It's incredible, and
Yeah.
uh, just I guess it happens in many communities, but here we are at the tail end of the continent with
Hmm.
South Florida. I mean, what upwards of 10 million people. Not that 10 million people are trying to get in the Keys, but there's a significant group that they want to be out. And they don't really give a shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sure.
and the problem in this community right now is what happens is starting places are starting to get shut down too. Have you heard about that?
Right. like like
Well,
states are shutting down, or
no restaurants from people being
oh yeah,
infected.
right, restaurant. Oh yeah, because they're violating the sure. Yeah.
Well, some are violating that, and some are getting shut down because they have people that are infected, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're coming up to a weekend where more people will be down here and less places will be available, and we're having 50% capacity. What I made this worst
No
idea
sense.
ever. I put it on there.
Right.
So I'm sure there's a lot of communities, seaside communities that have this. You're there are some places are at 25%, other places at 50%, but people aren't necessarily thinking 50%, right?
Right.
I mean, where you grew up in Florida, right?
I didn't grow up here, but I've lived here,
Where'd you
many
grow?
years
Where'd
now.
you grow up?
I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas.
Okay. Where'd you guys
Yeah.
go on vacation? Like did you stay in the area or something?
I mean, we would go down to like South Padre for like spring break, South Padre Island. Uh,
Okay.
you
Well, I
know,
mean, family
down on.
vacations. Family vacations? Would you go to beaches and stuff like that?
Occasionally, we'd come visit. My grandparents here in Florida and stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we were an hour away from the beach, so that was a thing you did a lot. We'd go down to the beach in New Jersey,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Yep.
when we got older, when you're going to college, you'd go down there. In high school and college, you'd shoot down for a weekend. And on July 4th weekend and stuff like that, I remember, since I was in high school, I worked in the part-time, at least part-time in the service industry, in catering and service industry. So on holidays, a lot of holidays, except for New Year's Eve, I rarely went out or St. Patrick's Day. I tried not to go
Yeah.
out to dinner on July 4th and things like that. And if you're down the shore on a weekend, the way the Jersey Shore is, and the same thing goes for any place. It's same for down here even. But Florida is a whole big coastline, so it's not. You don't have like a 3 million population here heading an hour away. There's
Right.
there's beaches all along our coast, so it's not as concentrated, let's say,
Right.
like the East Coast. The East Coast, you have like what 11 million people in Pennsylvania. You got 20 something million in New York. You got the 8 million people or 10 million people, whatever it is, and 6 million people in New Jersey, and they're so you're talking something like almost 40 million people, not all together leaving, but a good percentage. Let's say there's 1% or 2%,
Mm-hmm.
2% going. That's a million people almost, 800,000 going to the beaches, and they go
Right.
all the way to the coast. Now, Florida, you have this big coastline, and it's spread out. It's spread out more. Well,
Right.
down the Jersey Shore on July 4th weekend, you go to a restaurant and stuff like that. You go with 6, 7 people. If you didn't have a reservation, they'd be looking at you like you're crazy. And there'd be lines outside of every restaurant, even the crappiest restaurants.
Yeah.
Huge lines. And people were just saying it's an hour wait, and you just stand there an hour, Some would go and get drinks and stuff like that, but that's what you did. You waited an hour. They were
Right.
used to it. There's
Yeah.
no places. There's not. I mean, I used to work at the Fish House in the Encore. We used to have like long waits, but we had a bar area. People said it's like we say 45-minute wait for a table. They just have a drink at the bar. But these and down the shore, they'd be lined up for an hour, like they were waiting for a ride at Disney World.
Right.
So with this 50%, capacity, and down here, because just like many shore places, people go down with their families and they have their friends, and they want to go out in a group, right? Let's go out to dinner. We're hanging out. We're all friends, And now at least in Florida, I think statewide, there's a 10-person maximum at a table. But we had like yesterday, we had 16 kids. Now we split them up. We told them we had to split them up, even though they were outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We put 10 at one and 6 at another, and that's
Oh my
just
God.
the way it is. So no matter what, every choke point, whether you got 50%, right? You have 50% in the restaurants, and we'd space out the tables and stuff like that. Fauci just said today on a news conference that what did he say?
You
Dining
think it's going to
indoors
go
is
to
what?
100,000 a day? Yeah.
Yeah, 100,000 in the United States, possibility 100,000 a day. And if you need to dine, you go in dining. Try not to dine indoors. If you're going out to a restaurant, if you could dine outside. Well, most places in the United States, almost every place is indoors, and people, even with the 50% inside, right? You got to tell the people.
Right.
they're pretty much accepting now, especially since the vice president said yesterday, right? It would
Yeah.
be a pretty good idea for people to wear masks when they're outside their houses. Finally, he said that,
Gee,
right? He
gee,
broke down.
thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks a
thanks.
lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
It'd be like him coming out and saying, you know what? We're pretty sure the world is round.
We've done our research.
We thought about it. We did the research and stuff because everyone says, they got this big conspiracy.
Unbelievable.
The N95 mask is the only one that stops it. So next time you go for an operation, tell your doctor, if you're getting a surgery, tell your doctor, don't worry about wearing the mask because you're not afraid of an infection.
Right.
Yeah, if you ask every person that asked a person that received a COVID-19 check, government check, that said, "Hey, return it if you don't like Donald Trump, like it's his fucking money." They should be told when you go in the hospital now, because you don't like wearing masks, you should make sure your doctor and everyone that's attending you not wear a mask when they're operating on you. And tell them that since you don't worry about, it's everything's fake and all this stuff, and bacteria and all that stuff. So don't worry about them sanitizing the instruments.
Right.
Just go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it. Tough it out. You're tough. You'll make America great again if you do that. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're dealing with all that stuff. So we got the 50%, right? We got this recipe. This is a really good one. 50%. And we got exploding thing. And then you have all these tables come in. If they have like 6, 7, 8 people, you just can't put them anywhere. Just because you have a table available, you can't put them there because it's right next to another table. So they have to wait, and they're waiting outside, and people are waiting outside, and they're congregating. Not 6 feet apart. You don't know who's with who, and there's 25, 30 people, and they're doing exactly what they're not supposed to be doing, ignoring social distancing. That's it. And that's going to happen down here, and it's happening at every place. It's happening in the restaurants. We're telling people, even though they know by now, people come into the restaurant and they come down and they come and sit belly up to the bar. Oh, the restaurant's open. I said, this is a bar when you sit at the bar, so the bar's not open. And they said, that's stupid. And I said, well, I don't care if it's stupid.
Yeah. It is what it is.
You got to sit at a table, and I'll bring you a drink because that's table service. If I hand it to you on the bar, that's bar service. And I know it's splitting hairs. I realize that. But a lot of bars close down. A lot of people aren't making money because of it, and I better adhere to the letter of the law because that's a $500 fine.
Right.
And that's and the reason why bars aren't open is because stupid people couldn't, stay separate from each other.
Right.
If you were that friendly with somebody, go to their house.
Right.
What? So the Keys were operating under this thing where they were providing something that the South Florida didn't have. First of all, they thought they were going to. There's stupid people that think there's beaches all the way. There's all over down here, which there aren't. The best beaches. There's some good beaches down here, but the best beaches are up on the mainland.
Correct.
Just the way it is, where the sand is and all that stuff, and the waves. And we have beautiful water. We have beautiful coral. Yes.
Sure.
A lot of sea life. We have good fishing.
Yeah, we don't have sandy beaches like right.
We don't have good beaches. So if you're coming down here for it, and you see people. Here we go. Come on. Still too weak. The 21st century here. Oh, there we go. Okay. We're back, folks. Sorry for the interruption. I'm going to get back with Steve here. We were talking about how the Keys were... Come on. Oh, it's still too weak. Okay. I'm going to try this one more moment here. Oh. This is... Come on, Steve. Uh, yeah. Yeah, we got disconnected from Steve, I think because we have a weak internet connection here. And it's the perils of living in the Keys here and doing a live show. And this is my fault, but we're going to try it one more time. Let me try a call here. Call Steve. Hope here. Still too. Oh, Steve. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Steve.
Hey.
Sorry about that. Yep. Internet.
Are we still back online?
Yeah, we're still online. I never
Okay.
stopped, and the people were listening to me going, ah, ooh. We were talking about how the keys were left open,
Yep.
and we had every knucklehead in the rest of South Florida trying to make their way down here, and
Yep.
the Monroe County, and up until what was it 3 days ago, someone floated a rumor.
Uh-huh.
Now
Yeah.
that they were going to close the um, reinstitute the checkpoints on July 5th.
Oh, that would be great.
I know.
Well,
It was a half-assed. I think someone is playing like 3-level chess, like Star Trek chess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're thinking.
Yeah.
Some people say like, somebody plays master's level chess, and this guy's trying to play checkers. Right?
Yeah.
Well, with this, I think they're trying to placate the people who want it want it closed, and they want to placate the people that want it open for money. And they're saying, listen, what we're going to do is we'll just start a little rumor, right?
Uh-huh.
That if it gets really bad, we'll close it on the 5th. And then we'll be closer, and hopefully the numbers will drop. Maybe we can figure out a way of reporting it. Maybe like the governor saying, listen, we're going to try to reduce hospitalizations. We're going to try to stop the reporting of the positive cases, whatever you do, or change.
Yeah.
So
trying to buy
whatever it is. And I'm not trying to make it nefarious, but it's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Because if your idea is to reduce infections, then the reason they did it with the checkpoint anyway is to reduce the amount of interchange between different populations.
Right.
So if you restrict, you keep certain people in, you got people that have to go out. Yes, they have their jobs to do and stuff like that. And then you don't bring people in. You don't introduce new people to go around and stop. We get a tourist come in. They come in and stop at 50 different places. Right?
Right.
Someone at work normally goes to their place of work. They leave and they come back. They don't stop at 50 different places unless they're a delivery man. Right?
Okay, yeah.
But that's essential. So you have these large groups of people coming in and things like that. So if you really wanted to stop infections, they would have done it before July 4th and before these municipalities to the north of us started shutting down. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then that July 5th thing, I think it was more of a red herring, because if they close after and there's huge amount of infections, then they're going to say, you assholes, you waited too long.
Right.
If they don't do it, they'll just say, you assholes, you should have closed it again. So I think it's easier to say, well, we're just going to tough it out, just take it on the chin.
Right.
Now, what they're banking on right now may be that there's a lot of young people that have it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be able to make it, there will be lower death outcomes in the end. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think
More
about. To
higher
say, listen, I'm
survival, like
throwing
a
out
higher
July 5th
survival
as
rate.
this thing. We're not considering it. And there's people that are very angry. Says they're not considering it's ridiculous unless you're going to pay my rent. And I say, well, like how much? What kind of math are they doing right now, Steve?
Yeah.
I mean, what's with one person? Remember Schindler's List when he in the end? Did you see Schindler's List?
A long time ago. Yeah.
In Schindler's List, that right at the end, uh, who was the guy who played
Morgan
the
Freeman.
accountant?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Um,
No, no, the
oh,
guy
I'm
who
thinking of the wrong movie.
it
Thinking of the
was
wrong
Liam
movie. Sorry.
Neeson. Liam Neeson played
Yes.
Schindler, and the guy that
Yeah.
played his accountant was not F. Murray Abraham, uh, the other guy who played Gandhi, right?
Right.
I forget his name. British actor. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Drawing a blank. Sometimes he plays a bad guy, sometimes he plays a good guy. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
I'll think of
So,
it. I'll think of it.
so it's at the end of it. There's liberation going on. The Allies are moving in to liberate the camps and and stuff like that.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley and
Yeah.
Liam Neeson says, all I had to do, I could have gave up all this stuff. I could have saved some more people. His watch, his pin, his this. He could have saved a person. And he just said, yeah, what money, what part of your, I know you can go bankrupt. You may go bankrupt, but some people may go dead.
Right.
Some people may end up dead. So if you're talking, and then you have the people. Do you know anybody that died? What kind of freaking thing is that when you talk about anything, anything
Right.
whatsoever? Polio, it was polio eradication important. I know anybody? Did I know anybody in my family who had polio? I don't know of anybody in my family who had polio. Am I
Right.
happy they eradicated polio with a vaccine? Yes,
Yeah. Of course.
because it was a good thing. So whenever they save somebody, whenever we see minors being rescued or a little kid brought out of a well or someone saved from a burning building, that's empathy and that's what you do. And sometimes we prize people's lives over money. So throwing the
Right.
monetary equation, trying to throw money in over the economy, I never really bought that one. People say, well, you wrecked the economy. So many people die from a dead economy. You know what? Maybe we can be a little more creative with the economy. Maybe we have to start over again. Maybe things can't go back to the way it was.
Right.
Brick and mortar stores are dying out anyway. That's a fact.
Yeah. No
That's a
doubt.
fact. Amazon was coming along, and all these other places, Zappos and Lululemon,
Hey,
whatever, all these online stores, and that's
I
just
got 3 words for you.
what.
I got 3 words for you. Survival of the fittest. Okay, that's 4 words, but survival of the fittest.
Well, that's what
These
they're
brick and
saying.
mortar stores, are on their way to extinction anyways.
I know. What,
Deal with it. Deal with
yeah,
it.
yeah. They're gone, and if and actually, a lot of conservative financial planners, the well is to do people have reserves of cash where they can last years and years without earning any additional income.
Right.
The people that are affected most are the lower middle class and the lower middle class. The poor are always poor.
Mm-hmm.
So the people live in paycheck to paycheck. So if you're using math and stuff like that, once they lose somebody, once someone dies or gets sick or something like that, then you tend to lose your argument there. Like you say, do you know anybody? And then you have people that have empathy for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a slow moving train, and we're remember in the old. I put a picture. This is the worst worst idea ever. I put, and that's accumulation of the decision making things done on the governor's, uh, level, and then the county level, and then
Mhm.
the national level. So
Right.
we the classic movie where they always parody that movie is the girl Snidely Whiplash tying the woman to the train tracks,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah.
train's coming, and the hero's got to come and save the woman who's tied up to the train track. What a horrible way to kill somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to be a psycho. You got to be a psycho to do something like that. That wasn't just a regular, that Snidely Whip. These people that do stuff like that. If you think about it in the movies or cartoons, it's a very disgusting way to kill somebody.
Right.
Just to kill somebody, even out of malice
Right.
for the cartoon. Think about it. I think it's
Right.
better with the thing when they put Bugs Bunny. When they put Bugs Bunny in a pot, he jumps in a pot of water, and they start
Right.
cutting carrots up and stuff like that, throwing carrots up, and there's Bugs Bunny. Which his fur,
Right.
he's in his fur. Come on. You're going to eat that stew? It's going to be full of rabbit hair. So, a rabbit fur. So I mean, I'm trying to I did the last show I did, Steve. I
Mhm.
compared the decision making capabilities of Monroe County Board of County Commissioners to that of Larry Vaughn and the City Council of Amity in Jaws.
Mhm.
Right now,
Right.
in this case, Jaws. Um, every town in Florida is Amity, right?
Right. Mhm.
And but let's say this. Let's say every town's Amity is bigger and smaller, and there's sharks in all the waters, right?
Right.
But the only beaches that are going to stay open is the one in our town, right? We're the only
Right.
ones that are going to be providing the food for the sharks. So where are all the sharks going to go? So
Exactly.
yeah, you keep on saying, well, we're going to, whatever, when Larry Vaughn was the mayor, and says, you said, I couldn't get the line. I was like, say, you say barracuda. People go, what? You say shark. No, you say barracuda, and they go, what? You say shark, and then we got some problems, right?
Right.
And he says, and then it's July 4th weekend. He told Brody he's not closing down. I'll give you all the spotters you want. He has the Coast Guard. They thought they caught the shark, but Yahoo's caught the shark, um, but it wasn't. Not to
Right.
spoiler alert. If you didn't see Jaws yet, and you're listening to this show, you're an asshole. You should definitely watch Jaws before you listen to this show. I hate to say that. I'm sorry, but if you're in India and you didn't see it, we have some listeners in India. Okay, if you're in India, don't listen to the rest of the show because I'm going to give away the plot of Jaws. Okay, so Larry Vaughn doesn't believe it's a shark, and he doesn't want to believe it's a shark because he says, Captain Quinn said, listen, if you don't get this shark, then a lot of you guys are going to be eating beans and stuff during the winter, meaning they make all their money on
Right.
July 4th weekend, the summer. They got a short summer in Amity, and that's when when the ferry comes in, with all the food. They should call it the food ferry. And
Right.
don't get me wrong, this COVID-19, it's a living thing too, and it wants to eat people too. It wants to live in people.
Absolutely.
And that's what it feeds on, and that's what's coming down here. And
Right.
the Board of County Commissioners, they tell you wear mask. They're supposedly deputizing people to be compliance officers. That's their thing to fight it. 12 compliance officers, Monroe County.
Yeah.
They need 100. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that going to
Jesus
do?
Christ! All the other places, like if you had like 2 up here, 2 in Alvarado, Lower Matacumbe, maybe uh, 3 in Marathon, 1 in Big Pine, and 5 in Key West. That they'd be going around. That still wouldn't be enough. You couldn't do it if there's 12. But that's their solution. That they're gonna try to get people to distance. It's not working, and what they're doing is they're playing to the crowd by saying social distancing, mask, or you're going to get a $500 fine.
Right.
But in reality, people are going to do whatever they want.
Exactly.
Restaurants are going to go and tell people you must have a mask, and people will put on a mask, and then they'll take the mask off, and then they'll walk to the bathroom without a mask, and then they'll talk to the people around a mask, then they'll let their kids run around without a mask, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And they're dining inside, and they're coughing, eating, chewing, spitting, whatever stuff they're doing.
Americans.
It sounds like I'm a bartender. I sound like I'm talking about my thing. Yeah. But I mean, I wear a mask. I wear a mask the whole time I'm in work.
Yeah.
That's just
Americans
what I
are just
do
selfish
for business. What?
Yeah. Americans they're just selfish. They're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. They're just selfish creatures, Americans, and it's going to take them getting sick and losing loved ones, basically learning the hard way before they fucking snap out of their stupidity. It's just the way Americans are. They're just stubborn and stupid, and it's going to take them getting sick to realize that this thing is,
I would disagree. I would say we have a large percentage of Americans that are stupid.
Right.
And they're currently in charge.
Right.
And
for sure they're in charge.
They're currently in charge. There are guys in charge, and they're stupid, and that's why the EU's has their shit under control, and we don't.
Yep, exactly.
We don't have our control. We're laughing stock. We're not great. Currently, Europe does not welcome us over there. The EU just made, I think today or yesterday, they just said, and some of the countries, U.S. is not a safe place. That's what the EU says. But let me tell you 2 countries that are, Morocco and Rwanda.
Yeah.
Yes. Morocco and Rwanda. So, Rwanda, I guess that's the way you say it. But there you go. If you still think we are great, we are worse than we've ever been. We are heading in a wrong direction.
Big time, man.
Big time. We are. It's like a disaster movie, but in every other disaster movie, and I posted a picture of that, the satirical disaster movie from 2008, that one. They made Scary Movie and all that stuff. They made the superhero movie, it was called. And it's parodies of disaster movies.
Right.
I've never seen it. I'm sure it's a shitty movie. I'm most assured of it. But that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure they know. Right. They didn't know it was going to be a classic or anything like that. So, but what they do is they parody what people shouldn't do in a disaster movie. In zombie movies, you're supposed to keep on moving, right? And stay away from places you can't get trapped in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in the country and near an open field, right? With slow-moving zombies, let's say. I don't understand you have fast-moving zombies and stuff like that. I don't even understand how you have moving zombies. If the brain's dead, then the digestive system's dead. Then how are you eating? How are you shitting? I mean, how and they're saying their lower brain function. And the body's rotting, so it doesn't. Eventually they would just die out and just stop. Lose muscle tone. Muscles would rot, so they won't be able to move.
Yeah.
and it won't be able to grasp. They're not. They can't. Muscles don't get stronger when they are deteriorating. So I mean, I don't want to get into any depth, but almost any in Towering Inferno, right? What did they do
Right.
in Tower Inferno is kind of like a flu thing because it's from the 70s. They had a tall skyscraper, and a fire started.
Yeah.
They're having a big party on the top level with all these
Hmm.
uh, luminaries are there, and Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. Paul Newman's the chief architect, and Steve McQueen is the fire captain,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
it was their last action movie together. It was pretty. Actually, I liked Towering Inferno, but they decided, and if you're in India, if you didn't see this again, maybe stop. So what they decided is they blow the water tanks on the roof and drown the fire, which I thought that was a great idea, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, but they had the guts to do it. So that's like the mask. That's like if you wanted to do it, just social distance, use a mask, and everyone wears a mask, like they're doing in China, Japan. Japan, no problem.
Yeah.
Japan's packed.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a subway in Tokyo? They have people.
Sure.
They have people that push people in the train.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They push them in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, those are not those societies are not selfish like we are. They think of the greater good,
Yeah.
not
Sure.
their
Yeah. If you're in a
individual.
subway in Tokyo and you're a woman, you may get your ass
Yeah.
grabbed.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what you won't have. The guy will be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You'll be molested, but the guy will be married. Now in the United States,
You
you'll
won't
get molested, and the guy's going to breathe on you without a mask.
Right. Double whammy.
Yeah, double whammy here. Okay, what other disaster movies? Armageddon, right? You know, Bruce Willis. They got to land on a comet. They got to do what they have to do in order to stop it. They got to do
Yeah.
it. You got to do it.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. What other movies are there? Name. Come on, you guys.
Disaster movie.
Disaster movies.
Not a big fan of disaster movies.
You're not?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Well, in 2012, that one was a mind count. But whatever disaster movie, there's always the end is disaster movies. Almost every disaster movie, someone has a great idea
Yeah.
and it
Right.
works, right?
Yeah.
And there was a movie in, oh God, what year was it? 2009 or 2010? Contagion. It was a Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Now that was a disaster
yeah.
movie, and it paralleled almost everything we did, except it had a much higher death rate.
Right.
But we had the president or whoever was in charge in Contagion, even though people were rioting and stuff like that, they got their shit together in the end.
Yeah.
And they solved it. So
Yeah.
here, that's why I say the worst idea ever. It's like a culmination of disaster movies, and say almost anything. Oh, why don't you say we got a brilliant Russian dictator who wants to supplant the United States as a primary power and China, and we'll make a movie. We'll have the president of the United States pretty dopey, right? And have him being outplayed by China and Russia, a weak Russia. Imagine if the Soviet Union was still around with Trump.
Right.
A powerful Soviet Union.
Yeah.
A powerful Soviet Union around
yeah.
Trump. Oh my God. We'd be totally fucked. Now we have a weak Russia that's gotten much stronger, still weaker than the United States.
Exactly.
They've in the 4 years, America's people don't really understand. We've gotten so much weaker in the world stage. Our alliance system and
Absolutely.
right now, and people don't even realize the last 3 weeks India and China have been fighting skirmishes in the Himalayan foothills.
Right.
Yeah, they have zones that were drawn out by negotiations where they have troops in the area, but they're not supposed to have weapons, and they got into fights. They got in a fight even without weapons. They don't know if it
Wow.
was with rocks or whatever, stuff like that. It's just crazy stuff.
Right.
Yep. And right now there's a low-level skirmish going on in the foothills of the Himalayas along the Indian Chinese border over disputed territories there, right? And
Yeah.
India was trying to get its way into the Great Power Alliance, and we weren't able to take advantage of it because our guy isn't skilled enough to do that.
Right.
Now, another president would have said, you know what? We have an alliance system for you. If you want to sign up, if you have a problem with that, you're tired of getting pushed around, we'll make you an equal partner in the alliance system and just say, maybe expand CETO. That's a Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. A lot of people aren't familiar with it, but it used to be Japan, Philippines, Thailand, Australia. Now,
Right.
all those countries would be interested now. And you could get India. If you get India involved in it, you'd have like a pretty substantial increase to your alliance to combat those people. But this guy can't handle that, just like he can't handle COVID-19. And just like our governor and our local
Yeah.
governments
What can
here
he
are
handle?
handling that. What?
What can he handle?
He can handle
He can't
a
handle
porn star.
a Big Mac.
A Big Mac, a porn star,
Yeah.
hamburger.
There's
They
a
call
good
it
one.
hamburger.
There's a good one.
Yeah. So,
A good one.
well, there's speculation that he may even, if things keep on going south, he may even just step down because he's that kind of guy to quit because he definitely looks at the polls and stuff like that. And if it drops down to 30, what's a whisper for? What'd you get me to whisper?
Right.
Be quiet? Tell me. No, Abby just told me to be quiet. Okay.
Ooh.
So this is like the worst disaster movie ever written, a slow-moving disaster. And we see it coming, and no one's doing anything about it. And the train's coming, and we're all sitting on the tracks right now. We're all sitting in the tracks and realize the whole world's going through it right now. The whole world. The whole world's going through it. But the one country that people used to think around the world that would handle, for the last 100 years, your go-to country to handle something. We were the go-to country. If you go back,
I agree.
I think starting maybe like when Teddy Roosevelt started putting out, we called it the Great White Fleet, and he sailed around the world and said, listen, we're done being just a regional power. We're going to be a world power, and we're tired of these world wars, right? But we got involved with them, so we got involved in World War I. We helped take care of that. And World War II.
Yeah.
And I understand there's historians that say, the Russians and the Soviets did a lot of that, but they also instigated it too by not combating Hitler right away in the beginning. Just like the Germans and just like the French and the British didn't do it. So the United States came in after a while, and then they outproduced the rest of the Axis powers. We produced the most armaments. We were the go-to guys there. We stepped in when Korea was, South Korea was trying to be annexed by the North.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we shouldn't have stepped in Vietnam because Vietnam was that was a colonial issue.
Right.
And if we had sided with, and this is, if you historically look at it, if we had sided with the other side, Ho Chi Minh would have probably more likely have played, even though China and Soviet were in the neighborhood, they would have rather have been a client state of the United States than a client state of the Soviet Union and China. I mean, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
end up being China because they were enemies with China, and China's right to the north of it. So they probably would have much rather have been a client state of the U.S. And they're very industrious people. They would have been a great ally, and we could have saved untold billions of dollars. Untold billions of
Right.
dollars. We sided with so many bad people sometimes. We did the Shah of Iran, where we could have, we weren't happy. Originally the Shah of Iran was put in power by the father of the one that was put out in the 70s, was put in by the British.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a reasoning behind that because they didn't want to get the Soviets going in there. But there were also people in Iran that were more moderate. They could have had the
Mm-hmm.
moderates going there. Same thing in South America. And we always had a problem dealing with some moderates and stuff like that. We always had to go, for some reason, we had to go with the rabid anti-communists. And it turned out the rabid anti-communists used to be very, what would you call it? Very corrupt. Very corrupt.
Right.
It was the Chiang Kai-shek, the guy that fought the Chinese nationalists in China. His wife was like Imelda Marcos. She was like a horrible person. The nationalists,
Right.
the anti-communist regime, the wife of the general was considered a horrible person. And I don't know how we got onto this thing. I'd say we were just siding with the wrong people, doing the wrong thing. We've done it before,
Yeah.
but we've come out on top even when we made the wrong decisions sometimes for the right reasons.
Right.
Kennedy said we'll fight with any friend, we'll defeat any foe, and things like that. We'll be on the moon. And, we don't have these grand things anymore. We got a knucklehead. His big thing is building a wall. A wall is not a monument. A wall 100 years from now, a crappy, rusty wall will not.
Right.
The Great Wall of China will still be there, and they'll consider that a great thing. But the American thing, will people 1,000 years from now, some kid, if there's still people around, will trip over remnants of the wall and say, "Who the fuck put this in the middle of nowhere?
Right.
Why?
No doubt.
Why would you put that there? Look, there's a mountain over there. Why would you have a wall here? Why doesn't this go all the way across? That wall.
Right.
Oh my God! It just,
Stupid.
yeah. What kind of asshole lived here? Whenever you have a
Right.
neighborhood, and that's the last thing I want to say, Stephen. When you have a neighbor, and if your neighborhood, you had nice white picket fences. Let's say white picket fences,
Mhm.
right? And then
Yeah.
someone had a 15-foot wall with razor wire around it. And you said, "Who do you think? There's an asshole that lives here. Where do you think he lives?" Now, whether he lives there or not, people are going to pick the house with the 15-foot wall with razor wire on the top and probably like chunks of glass embedded in the cement.
Right.
That's us. So,
Yep.
if you don't like America, move out. Wait, we did like America. We stayed here. America changed around us, and probably, hopefully, on November 3rd, it's going to change back again. Well, it won't change back all of a sudden. But hopefully, there'll be enough of us. And I don't know why you're all upset about these people are upset about voting by mail. All of a sudden, how voting by mail got to be corrupt.
Yeah.
You get one
Because they don't want
person,
people
one
to
vote.
vote.
That's it.
Yeah.
Whether you vote by mail or not. The only reason,
Right.
the president voted by mail. And the mail
Yeah.
service, he'll probably get his legal notices by mail when he loses, and he's brought up on charges.
Probably.
There'll be the mail will come to him someday. I mean, I'm sure the charges, they're going to be served to him from state officials, when they find
Right.
out. Because if the Russians did pay bounties to kill American soldiers, and he knew about it, there's probably other things that he did that are jailable offenses. And the people that got upset over the manufactured Benghazi thing should be going batshit crazy about this bounty thing by the Russians.
Absolutely.
It's got to be on the level of 10. A level of 10 worse. Easy.
Right.
Easy, easy. I mean, if you can't see it, they'll say, "Oh well, it wasn't actionable intelligence." Come on.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. Well, that's all I have for today. Do you want to say anything about Key Largo Comics? I'm sorry if I didn't get anything in there.
No, no, no. I don't. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Steve's the owner of Key Largo Comics. You follow him on Facebook.
Yeah,
And
Twitter and eBay. Yep.
Yep. I'm sorry, I got my COVID cough going.
Oh, sweet.
Oh. Oh, I've been coughing on all these packages I'm sending out. Oh, on these test kits, these antibody kits.
Better quarantine yourself.
Oh, yeah. It's from eating nuts. You take it in. Follow the Keys bartender. If you're listening, share it as to many people as possible. We have had a sustained 5% listenership from India.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you very much, India. You keep that up. You share that with some people. You'll get what the Netherlands couldn't get. Get me 10,000 listeners from one area there, and I will review an Indian movie with all the dancing and shit like that.
Nice.
I'll order it.
Bollywood.
I'll order it on Netflix. I'll watch the whole thing. You know, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Singing in the Rain. How bad is it? You know,
You don't think all that
when Westerners say shit about your movies, about all the dancing and stuff like that, it's because they're jealous.
Right.
Because they can't, well, unless they can't dance as well. Most Westerners can't dance as well. I should say that.
True.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Steve, and I'll probably be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do a show tomorrow. Are you going to be available again?
Not tomorrow. Maybe
Not
maybe
tomorrow.
next week.
No. Sometime later this week.
Text me.
Okay, I'll check on you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is
Might be a little tied up. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but well, you enjoy the 4th. I'll be talking to you anyway. I'll send you a text. Okay.
Sounds good.
And be careful with fireworks, listeners. You too, Steve. Are you a fireworks guy?
Negative.
No. Okay. Well, this is the Keys bartender sign off. We could talk over the credits. There's no credits. It's the music. I'm going to put it on right now. I'll turn it down so the game. Okay, Steve, that went really well.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I don't know how I got disconnected.
Oh, I know how. We're still live.
Oh, okay.
We're still live. That's all right. I didn't want you to think you were talking about me. Yeah, when the internet goes down.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm still streaming live. But what happens is I have this live thing and it keeps on going. And I don't know if the sound's getting out or not, but it was like 2-3 minutes where I don't want to go in that. I feel so bad for listening. But
Yeah.
it's episode 302 and like thank you for listening. Finish it now. I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty.